Gameplan 2036, India's global event ambitions. That's what we're going to be talking about. The biggest conversation in recent times has been surrounding that, as far as Indian sports concerned, it's been surrounding that nation's bid for the 2036 Olympics. And it's become the cornerstone of every infrastructure and administration initiative for stakeholders across the spectrum. To break this down further, we've got our next panel discussion coming your way, which is Gameplan 2036, India's global event ambitions. I'd like to invite on stage a very esteemed set of speakers. May I request Shri Hari Ranjan Rao, IAS, Secretary Sports, Government of India, to please join us on stage, sir. May I request Mr. Hari Ranjan Rao, IAS, Secretary Sports, Government of India, to please join us on stage, sir. I think we've just got them in the breakout area and they'll be joining us. I think he's on his way. A quick introduction about Shri Hari Ranjan Rao ji. From the granular challenges of a district collector to high stakes positions in the Prime Minister's office, Shri Hari Ranjan Rao's had an illustrious resume, currently serving as the Sports Secretary and the DG for the Sports Authority of India, which is SAI. Be it helping Neeraj Chopra to train abroad for the next Olympics or aiding middle distance runner Ajay Kumar Saroj to practice in the US, Mr. Rao looks set with only one goal, which is to make India a sporting powerhouse. We also have, sir, please request you to take a seat. We also have for this panel discussion Achanta Sharat Kamal, multiple time Olympian, Vice Chairperson, Athletes Commission, IOA. We talk about Sharat Kamal's accolades in the sporting arena. You'll have to go all the way back, starting with a journey back in 2002. Onwards and upwards is what it's been like. And of course, now the voice for Indian athletes also. He's been a Khel Ratna awardee, Padma Shri. The accolades keep growing. So did the medals at the Commonwealth stage, at the Asian Games stage. Great to have you here with us. We have Shri Devendra Jajaria ji, President Paralympic Committee of India, the Indian para-athlete. Of course, known for winning the Paralympic gold medals in 2004 and 2016, overcame adversity to become world champion as well. And to moderate this session, I'm going to request Mr. K.C. Vijay Kumar to come back on stage, sports editor, The Hindu. And Achanta Sharat, I'm going to request you to please switch seats. You're in the moderator's chair. I'm sure you do equally well there as well, being the multifaceted person that you are. It's over to you, Casey sir. Hope you enjoy this moderation.
This is a pretty difficult task on hand. When you drive long distance, the last part of the drive is the most difficult. And this is a penultimate session of the conclave. And it is difficult. And at some level, I also feel like a Rahul Dravid or a Cheteshwar Pujara, because the next man is either Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli, right? The session after this is going to have the showstopper, the great Kapil Dev. He's already in the house. He's having his refreshments inside. So we'll make a strong fist of this program. And it's a very heartening and a motivating theme, you know, the road to 2036 Olympics, for which India is bidding hard. I would ask Sir first, what is the vision of the Government of India going forward, you know, when you're pressing ahead for 2036 Olympics, and how do you intend to work a way towards it?
Thank you very much. First of all, I must compliment all the friends who are sitting here in the audience for their tremendous amount of patience to be sitting happily at this hour in the evening, having been completely tired. But that's what sports person's spirit is all about. To the question that Vijay asked about the vision of the government for 2036 Olympics, I want to very clearly say that Honorable Prime Minister himself has echoed the nation's sentiment by saying that we would like to be hosting Olympics in coming days. Now, in a country's journey, there are moments when we take a particular flight path of growth where we would like to be called and known as a country which is capable of hosting an Olympics game, and also the dream of Vikasit Bharat, Develop India by 1947. So in that process, hosting an Olympic is not a question of only hosting a game. It's a process which we need to live through, and we need to feel that sense of pride in doing this. Now, there is process of awarding the hosting of an Olympics by the International Olympic Committee, which we have to go through the process. There is a bidding process which takes time, that you are all aware about, which is well covered in the media. But from me, from the government point of view, we are looking at the entire ecosystem to be completely rejuvenated, because, as I said, hosting of the Olympics for those 15, 20 days is one issue. But to gear up the entire nation to be able to feel that pulse for hosting an Olympic and be part of that global movement is a very different issue. And I think that is where we need to put our heads together and work. And I'll explain more when we discuss in the subsequent points. Thank you.
Sharad, coming to you next. I mean, as an athlete, how do you see this development? You know, in fact, when you take the history of sport in India in terms of multi-global events in India, we've had two Asian Games, we've had one Commonwealth Games, and then we had the odd SAF Games in India. And then when it comes to cricket, obviously 4 Cricket World Cups, one T20 World Cup. There's been more happening on the cricket side in terms of multi-team tournaments. And now this is a big ticket among all, you know, having a 2036 Olympics here if India wins the bid. And as an athlete, I mean, who's, you know, represent the country for close to 2 decades, how do you see this?
See, firstly, thank you, Sportstar and KPMG, for getting this together and putting me on the panel with such distinguished guests. So, all the list of tournaments that you've told now, with the Asiads, with the Commonwealth Games, the World Cups of cricket, you see, India's done exceedingly well in all those events because it's at home, and we put all our energy, you know, to make sure not just the games is successful as an event itself, but also the athletes and the whole ecosystem supporting the athletes also put in a lot of effort into going and showing that we're doing well at home. And personally, for me, I've played some of the best tournaments at home. You know, so that's the best thing you can give an athlete. Well, many times, let's say now the Commonwealth Games happen in Birmingham, so I won in Birmingham. Imagine if I had won that in India, the kind of importance the sport would have got, the kind of exposure table tennis or the other sports would have got. So I think 2036, again, getting the Olympic Games, as Sir said, is one goal. But you get it or not, you know, you plug in everything in place from, let's say, the grassroots level to the intermediate level and to the high performance. If you have this set over the next 10 to 11 years, and we are looking at kids who are 8 to 10 years today, because by the time they're 21, 22, that's when the peak is going to come. You know, we're going to be the best at that point in time. So this is the generation who we're looking at to nurture, and this will have a snowballing effect into making sure that kids have a way of life through sport. So sports becomes an integral part of their life, which in turn, you know, makes the country stronger physically and mentally.
Sharad, just to add on to what you said, is there additional pressure when you compete in the Olympics in the sense that India so far has got 41 medals in Olympics over, say, 75 years? And when, say, 11 years down the line, you know, God willing, Olympics comes to India, would there be additional pressure as a host, not only to be a good host, but also to perform well on the field?
Again, as I said, I'm pretty sure that we will do exceedingly well there at the Olympic Games. But again, we need to make sure that, you know, there's a lot more that goes into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So this question many times is asked by a journalist to athletes at the Olympic Games. In a country of 1.4 billion, we have at the Olympic Games, we don't hit the double digits. We're still not hit at 10. We are, the maximum we had was 9.
Yeah.
So the question is, with such a big population, why we don't get those medals? The answer to that is, out of the 1.4 billion people, how many people have the access to sport and a sporting culture? Probably 1%. of the entire population, and from that 1%, we're getting those 9 medals,
Yeah,
which is a big number actually.
true.
But then if you're able to make that number bigger, to make it 10%, 20%, then yes, we are there as a strong sporting nation.
So coming to you, how do you look at the Paralympics movement? Because India has made a splash in Paralympics. Our specially able athletes have done exceedingly well, exceedingly well. They seem to have that extra drive, extra vigor to win medals. And they've promised medals and they deliver the medals. So how do you see that blending into the Olympic movement?
देखिए, पैरा स्पोर्ट्स में जो लास्ट 10 साल में मैं बदलाव देख रहा हूँ हमारे कंट्री में, वो एक बहुत बड़ा बदलाव है। मैं 2004 की बात करूँ तो सिर्फ हमने 2 मेडल जीते थे। 2000 एट बीजिंग पैरालंपिक की मैं बात करूँ तो हमने कोई मेडल नहीं जीत पाए थे। लंदन पैरालंपिक में एकमात्र सिल्वर मेडल जीता। लेकिन उसके बाद रियो पैरालंपिक में हमने 4 मेडल जीते। यहाँ हमारी थोड़ी ग्रोथ नज़र आई। टोक्यो पैरालंपिक में हमने बहुत ही शानदार परफॉर्मेंस देते हुए हमने 19 मेडल जीते, और पेरिस पैरालंपिक में 50% की ग्रोथ करते हुए हमने 29 मेडल जीते। 50%। यदि मैं कंट्री वाइज कहूँ तो आईपीसी ने ये माना है कि सबसे ज़्यादा मेडल वाइज कोई ग्रोथ करने वाला कंट्री था तो वो इंडिया था। हमने 50% मेडल ग्रोथ दी है। बात जैसे हमने ये परफॉर्मेंस दी उसमें हमने 17 मेडल एथलेटिक्स अकेले में जीते। एथलेटिक्स बहुत अच्छा गेम है हमारा पैरा स्पोर्ट्स में, और उसमें भी 2 गेम ऐसे हैं, हाई जंप और जेवलिन। जेवलिन में हमने पेरिस पैरालंपिक में 4 मेडल जीते अकेले जेवलिन में, और इतने ही मेडल हमने हाई जंप में जीते, 4 मेडल। तो मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि जो बदलाव का दौर है ये, और इस बदलाव के दौर में देखिए हमें 2036 का हम टारगेट लेके चल रहे हैं कि 2036 में हमें ओलंपिक पैरालंपिक की मेजबानी मिलनी चाहिए। इससे पहले मैं थोड़ा सा बताना चाहता हूं कि हमारे यहाँ देश में फैसिलिटी क्या है, स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर हमारी कितनी डेवलप है, और हम मेडल कितने जीत रहे हैं, ये सब चीज़ें काउंट होती हैं। तो मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि हमारा एक इंटरनेशनल डेलीगेशन बुलाया था हमने, खेलो इंडिया पैरा गेम्स हो रहे थे, 1 साल पहले की बात है ये। फर्स्ट पैरा गेम्स हुए थे हमारे खेलो इंडिया। तो जब उन्होंने आकर के देखी, यहाँ सुविधाएं देखी, तो उन्होंने कहा कि इंडिया बहुत अच्छे से इंटरनेशनल इवेंट होस्ट कर सकता है। आपका जो पैरा गेम्स हमने करवाए थे वो इंटरनेशनल लेवल के स्टैंडर्ड के करवाए। तो एक तो मैं ये क्लियर करना चाहता हूँ कि अब इंडिया बिल्कुल तैयार है ओलंपिक जैसे आयोजन के लिए। हम आराम से कर सकते हैं, हमारे पास वो ताकत है। आपने देखा होगा आज से 10 दिन पहले ही माननीय खेल मंत्री जी ने मोंडो ट्रैक का उद्घाटन किया जवाहरलाल नेहरू स्टेडियम में। भारत ऐसा 25वां राष्ट्र बन गया है जिसके पास ये फैसिलिटी है। ये अपने आप में बड़ी बात है फैसिलिटी वाइज। और सिर्फ एक ट्रैक ही नहीं, वार्म अप एरिया की जो ट्रैक है वो भी हमारी मोंडो ट्रैक है। तो हमने इंटरनेशनल लेवल की फैसिलिटी तैयार कर ली। और जो वर्ल्ड पैरा एथलेटिक्स चैंपियनशिप होने वाली है अभी, ये वर्ल्ड एथलेटिक्स चैंपियनशिप इतनी शानदार होगी, इतना भव्य आयोजन होगा इसका कि पूरी दुनिया में मैसेज जाएगा कि आज तक के इतिहास की सबसे अच्छी वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप हुई है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की जो खास करके दिव्यांगजनों के प्रति वो उनका समर्पण रहता है हमेशा। जब खिलाड़ी मेडल जीतते हैं तो सबसे पहले उनका फोन जाता है। ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि मैं एज ए खिलाड़ी के तौर पर देखा है कि बहुत कम ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री हैं दुनिया में जो सीधा खिलाड़ियों से बात करके बधाई देते। लेकिन हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री, जब मैं रियो में मेडल जीता, टोक्यो में मेडल जीता, पेरिस में मैं प्रेसिडेंट था पैरालंपिक कमेटी ऑफ इंडिया का, जो वो खेल को जो प्राथमिकता दे रहे हैं ये पूरी दुनिया को पता है। इसलिए मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि चाहे वो कॉमनवेल्थ गेम 2030 की मेजबानी हो, चाहे हमारी एशियन गेम्स की मेजबानी हो, चाहे ओलंपिक पैरालंपिक 36 की मेजबानी हो, हमारा रोड मैप तैयार है और ये देश मेजबानी के लिए तैयार है। क्योंकि जो खेलो इंडिया यूथ गेम, और एक और मैं जोड़ना चाहता हूं इसमें, फिट इंडिया। मैं पूरी दुनिया में जाता हूं, फिट इंडिया एक बहुत बड़ा मैसेज है। ये सिर्फ भारत के लिए नहीं है, ये पूरी दुनिया के लिए है कि वहां एक अभियान चलता है फिट इंडिया। मैं जब कंट्रियों में जाता हूं मैं देखता हूं वहां पे बताते हैं कि आपके देश में बहुत बड़ा अभियान चलता है फिट इंडिया। तो ये होती है स्पोर्ट्स कल्चर को डेवलप करना, तो हम उसको भी डेवलप कर रहे हैं। फैसिलिटी हमारे देश में आज, मैं मान सकता हूं आज से 10 साल पहले जब मैं तैयारी करता था ओलंपिक की, हमारे वहां इतनी फैसिलिटी नहीं होती थी इंडिया में। आज हमने स्पोर्ट्स साइंस में इतनी तरक्की की है, इतने एडवांस चले गए हम, कि हमारे जितने भी रीजनल सेंटर हैं वहाँ फिटनेस ट्रेनर, फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट, कोचेज, हाई परफॉर्मेंस डायरेक्टर, हमारे हर ट्रेनिंग सेंटर में, जो भारत सरकार के ट्रेनिंग सेंटर है उसमें हर ट्रेनिंग सेंटर में उपलब्ध है। यहाँ तक कि फिजिकली भी रहते हैं, वर्चुअली भी रहते हैं। तो मैं कहता हूँ कि अब इंडिया वो समय आ गया है कि अब हमें 2036 की मेजबानी करनी चाहिए और हम करेंगे, हम तैयार।
Thank you. Coming to you, sir, the way to build infrastructure for Olympics, how do you look at it from the government point of view? Uh, how much is the government stretching itself to get the infrastructure in place, like Games Village and stuff like that? And what do you also expect from the corporates? Because they also have to pull their weight.
Well, if you look at infrastructure building for the hosting of a multi-sport game like Olympics or Commonwealth Games and all, India has already done it and proven it in the past. We had done Asia, we had done Commonwealth Games in 2010, and the infrastructure that was built at that point of time, it is still there around and being put to use by athletes and various people who are stakeholders. So, to my mind, creating an infrastructure for hosting a multi-sport event is not a challenge at all, especially where the country is today in terms of growth curve. If you look at the kind of infrastructure spending that is being done by the government in, say, highways, say in railways, say in airports, and in shipping, it's a very small component that you require to create infrastructure for sporting an international event like Olympics. So that's really taken care of. It's not even something which we need to worry about or discuss.
Okay.
The larger issue of legacy and whether we need so many infrastructure, but I think the country of 140 crore, we need good infrastructure. Why not? Whether an Olympic or not, we need to give our future generations very good quality sporting infrastructure. So that is something which is not, in my mind, a matter of debate.
Okay.
Now, the second question that you asked is whether we are spending sufficiently in infrastructure or not. To that question, I think we are spending money. Government of India is doing something through Khelo India infrastructure right now. Large number of state governments are funding. But there is a good case for putting our heads together and come up with, perhaps in a more nuanced way, if we could spend this money which is much more fruitful and useful. In the typical sporting language, spending money on FOP is more important than building huge, large scale concrete stadiums where you will never be able to fill up that stadium in a period of 1 year or 2 years. So I think that realignment and reorientation is something that is our priority now. We are engaging with the state governments. In the ministry also, we are wanting to have SOPs, so that similar amount of investment can lead to much better investment in terms of infrastructure for FOP. That is one part. The second issue you asked about is the role of corporates. Now in India, if you know, there are few corporate houses who have been very passionate about investing in the sports. So we have, to name a few, JSWs, Inspire, Reliance Foundation, Tata's. They have done a very good job by creating very good infrastructure and also the entire training ecosystem. But corporate sectors can play a very pivotal role in bridging those gaps where governments conventionally do not do very well or fail, and civil society and athletes and coaches do not have the wherewithal or capacity to do that. That is, to bridge the gap in terms of their training, their exposure visits, their support in terms of sports science specialists, support in terms of good foreign coaches. All these things can be very beautifully fit in by corporate houses. So in the ministry, we're talking about one corporate, one sport. That doesn't mean that one corporate, after having picked up a sport, cannot do anything else in another sport. But the idea is that if you take up a sport, find out wherever the gaps are and please do the gap filling. I have seen large number of good examples of corporate partnership in sporting ecosystem. Odisha is one good example where the infrastructure has been funded by the government, but utilization of that infrastructure has been vested with the corporate sector. So the athletes are picked up from the state, the coaches are being funded by the corporate sector, their sports sides support and their strength and conditioning and bringing them good exposure is all being funded by corporate sector. So corporates have now funded stadiums in Odisha. That has been done by the state government. This is one model. In some other cases, the entire ecosystem has been developed by corporate houses out of their own conviction and commitment. But going forward, we feel that there is a good case for loosening the purse and opening up the CSR funding and making it more amenable to the corporate sectors to be able to fund it more liberally in the sporting sector, not only in infrastructure but in other portions of sports. For example, organizing various competitions at various levels. If that can be funded by CSR, I guess large number of companies will come forward, and that will actually help the entire sector in a big way, because the more competitions athletes participate, the better exposure they get and they get groomed. And this is an area where we need more and more involvement, funding from the corporate sector as well as from the state governments. So it's an ongoing journey. Everybody is learning. A lot of things are now getting aligned in last couple of years. Last 10 years has been significant, as Devendra ji said and Sharad said. But now I think the focus is more because we are looking forward to hosting mega events, and therefore we want to immediately put our house in order in terms of doing a lot of things which can give quick results, but we will also put some long-term institutional mechanisms in place.
So just to follow up on that question, uh, Olympics is not just about the athletes and the infrastructure; it's also about sports tourism. You know, you have people all over the world converging at one point, and if Ahmedabad is going to be the epicenter for the Olympics, if India wins the bid, and then you have other satellite cities lending a hand, you also have policy decisions to make because Gujarat is a state of prohibition, right? Of course, you have Gift City in Ahmedabad, so you have an exception there. Uh, but is there any way the government would try and work around this? Because my good friend Ion here, he had gone to the FIFA World Cup in Doha, and they also did something around this issue, of sports tourism and their cultural constraints and stuff like that. How do you look at that challenge?
So, well, recently there was a conclave which happened in Mumbai called Waves, which was steered by the entire media, entertainment industry. Information and Broadcasting Ministry was the anchor there, but it's also largely supported by the entire private sector and all the stakeholders. So they have set up a task force in which Sports Ministry is also participating in the dialogue, and that task force is to actually uh, come up with very good solid recommendations for arena tourism and bringing in uh, uh, large number of events from the globe to India, both sporting events as well as not sporting events, because this is a sector of tourism which is growing worldwide very fast, where people are ready to attend concert at any price in certain parts of the world. And why shouldn't India be tapping that resources? Sports Ministry uh, gets involved in this for two reasons. One is that the infrastructure created for sports like huge stadiums can be also leveraged for hosting big cultural events. But at the same time, if you start hosting world level competitions of various sports like football or basketball or for that matter hockey already we are doing it. 4 World Cups have happened in India. This is something which I can be sure of, that if we start doing this, it will not only generate more interest in our own citizens about those non-cricket sports, but it will also start bringing in footfall from other countries who would be passionate to see these matches, and they will start coming to India. So this is a policy clarity that we need to bring in good all kinds of world-class uh, sporting competitions to India. Who will be the major partner in this? There are two major partners who have to enable this. One is the national sports federations, so they have to align with their international federation and bring these events. And secondly, the state governments, because invariably the state governments are hosts. In their state, it happens when you do a host a big international event, then beyond the FOP, you have to also make a lot of other logistic arrangement like accommodation and catering and transportation, and a lot of uh, resources have to be generated in terms of support by the corporate houses as well as the governments. So state governments become a very big stakeholder. Even today, if you look at it, there are some states who are very positive and proactive in trying to bring in international events to their own state. The classic example is recently last week concluded the Asia Hockey Championship that happened in Rajgir, Bihar. Bihar government was very proactive. Odisha government has been known to hosting World Cup hockey tournaments. Tamil Nadu has hosted World Chess Olympiad, and there are large number of other. Recently now, 10 days down the line, Delhi is hosting World Para Athletics Championship courtesy PCI. So these kind of international events, if we keep bringing to India, it will generate that critical mass that we are looking for.
The last set of questions, Sharad and sir, both of you can answer. So, what is your realistic estimate in terms of performance 2036 from an athletic point of view?
it's a it's a very
What's
long
your hope?
shot.
What's your hope? What's your dream?
It's a very long shot from here. But my personal goal at the 2036 Olympic Games. So, um, so when you look at my cabinet of medals, I I have I have a dozen of the Commonwealth Games medals. I have a couple of Asian Games medals, but the Olympic Games, it's empty. So my goal, I hope I can see that through the younger generation and make sure that table tennis is able to win a gold medal in 2036. So that's my personal goal.
Yeah.
And
You,
that's
sir, how
what
do you
I'll
look
be
at it?
working.
Yeah.
देखिए 36 में हम पैरालंपिक में उम्मीद से ज़्यादा परफॉर्मेंस देंगे। और मैं बताना चाहता हूं, हम वैसे भी पेरिस पैरालंपिक में हम 18वें नंबर पे थे मेडल टैली में। मैं आपको विश्वास दिला के जाना चाहता हूं, ये वीडियो मेरा सेव कर लेना, इतना मुझे कॉन्फिडेंस है। हम 36 में टॉप 10 कंट्रियों में रहेंगे। और मैं ये कह रहा हूँ मेरा वीडियो सेव कर लेना, क्योंकि हमारे जो जूनियर एथलीट आ रहे हैं, जो जूनियर हमने प्रोग्राम चला रखे हैं, उन खिलाड़ियों को उनके घर पे ही हम फैसिलिटी भिजवा रहे हैं और अब बहुत ही शानदार परफॉर्मेंस दे रहे हैं वो। मैं उन खिलाड़ियों को देखता हूँ तो ये मैं कह सकता हूँ कि हम टॉप 10 में रहेंगे 36 पैरालंपिक में।
It's a heartening note to conclude this session. It's not just all of us here and the delegates present here. A lot of veteran journalists in the hall, Vijay Lokpalli, Rakesh Rao, Sandeep Nakai.
Vijay, can I?
Yeah.
Now that Devendra ji is talking about being in top 10 in 36. See, in Olympic medal tally, we are at 71 right now. But of course, we have had in the past been in 50s also. But because of the last Olympic, we were in 71st rank. But in Paralympics, we were 18th. So if India is aspiring to be among top 10 medals medalist in Olympics, in Paralympics it has to be top 5. It can't be top 10, Devanji. It has to be top 5. And you will do it, I am telling you.
मुझे अच्छा लगता है, हमसे हमेशा ही आप उम्मीद रखते हो ज़्यादा, तो मैं इतना कहता हूं कि आप जो कह रहे हो हम उन उम्मीदों को भी पूरा करेंगे.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I mean, many veteran journalists in the hall, Vijay Lokpally, Rakesh Rao, Sandeep Nakar, V.V. Krishnan. I mean, even for them, it would be a moment to cherish. 2036 happens and India wins the bid for the Olympics. We could take one question right now because we're running out of time. One question. Anyone? Please raise your hand and then one question. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I am Ankur. Thanks for giving me opportunity to talk with you guys. Okay, so I was talking about the Olympic. I see there are lots of opportunities creating by governments in various states in India. But what I find the synergies between all the states for creating a common platform so that one sports person can learn from other sports person in other states. Do you have any such plan for creating some synergies as well as a platform?
Okay, thank you. So the question, if I understood correctly, is that a good athlete in one state, how will he or she get an opportunity to compete and learn from players from other states?
Right.
Thank you. So irrespective of the kind of discipline that athlete is playing, there are two ways that athlete grows in the ladder. One is to participate in the national level, interstate level competitions organized by the respective federations, and of course IOA does national games. But more importantly, in last couple of years, Khelo India Games have been really a very good platform where multi-sport, multi-state participation happens in a very participative and a very big way, where whether it is youth games or university games or Khelo India Para Games or Winter Games. So it's a very good, robust platform where athletes from different states come and participate and compete amongst themselves. And then from there they rise further to be also handpicked by the selectors for various international competitions, because that is where they get spotted and identified. I hope I answered your question.
There's one more question. The lady there. Yeah. Just give the mic to her, please. Yeah.
So, we all have been discussing all types of sports so far, and slightly off bit, there is one more sport I think is not getting enough recognition. Hi, this is Sana, and my question is to the panel that I am a very active motorcyclist. I love playing with the bikes, and I know it's off bit, but what do you think is vision for motorsports in India when especially everything has attention to cricket and football, and do you think they will be treated as athletes and will have protection from government soon? I really want that as a motorcyclist, as a rider, we get that recognition, and it's very offbeat. I'm sorry for the question. Yeah. Okay, I would like Hari Haran sir to address.
You want me to address that?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay. So I'll start the answering from the back, because you said, will the motorsports athletes or motorsport enthusiasts will get protection from the government? So my answer to that question is that government is very protective. It protects everybody. It doesn't
Yes.
haunt anybody. So don't worry about that. Larger issue is that as far as recognition of motorsport as a sport is concerned, currently you know that the way we function,
Yeah.
we give recognition to federations which have presence in the international arena, where we have international federations, we have national federations.
Right.
Government gives recognition. But frankly speaking, for growth of any sport, government recognition is the last thing to be required. A sport would develop and grow if there are players who wish to play and enjoy, and there are people who are ready to cheer up for that sport.
Yeah.
So government recognition is rather coincidental. Government gives recognition, one for supporting some minor financial supports for organizing some competition, etc.
Yeah.
And secondly, giving them NOC when they want to travel to international competitions and they have to apply for visa and all. But as of now, even if there are sports which are not recognized by any government of India, we don't stop the NOCs, we give liberally.
Yeah.
So,
Just wanted to
so
also
now
help you.
motorsport,
Yeah.
I know that it is currently not part of the
Yeah,
Olympics.
yeah.
So you have to tell me how that is happening.
Actually, just one last point. I belong to a group of motorcycling specific to female, where we have more than 5,000 women who have come under one single roof. And when motorcycling happens, it's a very male dominated sport right now. But there are so many females, and we are coming together every Sunday. So for past 7-8 months, we did Ladakh together. We did a lot of things. And I feel once you enter in motorsports, I hope someday Indian government will do some really good stuff for females in motorcycling. Hoping so. In 2036, I hope we are at global level for that. Thank you.
Hopefully.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's a lovely conversation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'd request all of you to please stay back on stage for a moment, sir. I'd request you to stay back because I'm going to request Mr. K.C. Vijay Kumar to present a small memento as a token of our appreciation to Shri Hari Ranjan Rao, sir, Achanta Sharat Kamal, and Devendra Jajaria. And just a point to for the lady who asked that last question. Sir, you said that, government support is there for all. And what is also interesting, government acknowledgement. Just talking about motorsport, a former biker who then took to road racing and is one of the prominent contenders in the World Rally Championship, Gaurav Gill, was actually conferred with the Arjuna Award by the government. So just letting you know, speaking from the government side, the fact that there is acknowledgement for even motorsports individuals as well for their achievement in that sphere. So just one from the government side. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure to have the three of you on stage. Thank you again.